Welcome back to the series. Um, this is episode, I believe, 5. Done quite a bit this series, and yeah, now comes the point where we get to do our corridors, uh, which is just us rendering our road. If you're wondering why my drawing looks a bit different, yeah, I was a bit of a responsible Civil 3D user. I lost all my files, so here we are. But it's not a big deal as long as we've got everything we need. We're still able to proceed as normal. Okay, so um, if you have missed any of the previous episodes leading up to this, I suggest you go watch those and familiarize yourself before getting to this point, which is again corridors, which is simply just rendering out our road based on this bad boy. So based on this, the vertical alignment as well as your cross section. Yeah. Okay. So to get that rendered, let's start with something as a fairly small road. Let's start with this one. Does this one have a profile? We'll figure that out. It's fine. Okay. So what you'll do is you'll select your alignment. Okay. Now once you've selected it, I'll press hide here. Once you selected it, you'll see on your menu up top, if you check on your right hand side, you'll see there is an option that says corridor. You'll click on that. Okay, let's give it a bit of time. Okay, there we go. Right, so you'll see the create corridor dialog box. So you can give it a name. I'll just say render. And then, okay, so these stuff like your corridor style you can leave as is, your corridor layer you can leave as is, baseline type. So we are working with alignment and profiles. We don't have feature lines for this. We only want to use this two as our baseline. Now alignment, I called mine lol1. So that's the one that I've currently selected. And then let's click on profile. So this is layout 1. Just remember to have your own layout or your own profile for your road. This one is the NGL, so this is the surface profile. So you need to have one for your road itself. And then under assembly, this is where then you're then gonna choose your assembly. Your full I prefer you let's use our full section for this one. If you're not sure what that looks like, you can click on the green box right here. And what this will do is it will allow you to choose your assembly from the drawing. So if we just move around the drawing environment, and then this is the one I want to use, so you just go over to the center line and click that and you'll see it's the selected one. And then target surface, you're going to use initial ground level, then set baseline and region parameters, leave this checked, and then you'll click on OK. Now what will happen is once you've done that, it'll give you this pop-up menu which talks about your baseline and region parameters. Now this is where you're gonna change a few properties of your corridors. Let's say the um frequency of your corridors, your target, and the likes. We will dive into this more when we do our intersections, especially the if you're gonna do it manually instead of using the intersection option. But we'll get to that in later episodes. So once you've gotten to this point, you can click on apply, and then you'll get a warning that says the corridor definition has been modified and needs to be rebuilt. Click on the first option that says rebuild corridor, and you'll see that your corridor starts modeling. And once it's done, you'll press on OK. Let's see how our corridor looks like. There we go. So yes, this is our corridor. So it's just an example of how your corridor would look like. So I'm just gonna exit quickly. So you'll see that uh so what you have here, so this is basically the representation of your road as a whole. If you're wondering why some parts look wider than others, that is just your daylight. So this is how it's represented. So it basically looks at your surface. So since you've chosen your target surface, you've chosen this as your target surface, so it works around that. So let's see if we can go to it quickly. So there's an option that will let you actually see how it would look like if we were to drive on said road. So if you, I'm not sure if you caught that. I'm so sorry. I'll repeat that. So you click on the corridor, and then your options will change up top. You'll go to analyze, and then you'll go to drive, and then it'll ask you to select your corridor feature line. I'm just gonna select this portion right here, and then et down. You can choose any section, it's up to you, but I usually prefer choosing the first one. And then what will happen is it'll start to render out like a conceptual model of your road. And there, what you're looking at right now is your proposed road. So yeah, this is how it looks like. So the cool thing is you can actually press play, and this will do is it actually drive you through the road in itself. So if we press play quickly, so you'll see that as you drive along, you can sort of see how your road will look like. So here, I'm not sure if you guys can see the mouse. I'll pause this for now. You'll see where my cursor is right now. This will be your lane, and then this right here would be your shoulder. So this will be your shoulder, and then from here on out, that would be your daylight. So this right here would be your your daylight. So this would be your fill or cut, if I'm not mistaken. It's time to be corrected, but I'll have it shown or edited somewhere. Um, Now let's continue going. As you can see, it drives you straight through your road. You can increase the speed if you want. I'm gonna do this. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this while it's on. Yeah, there you go. It's starting to pick up a bit of pace. And as you can see now, there's a change of there's a slight change in our daylight. As you can see now, it's no longer going upwards, it's going downwards. So this is it. Your this is how your corridor or this is how your road would look like if you were to drive onto it. So yeah, just like that, this is your corridor. Now again, I did mention that you can change a few things on this corridor specifically. So if let's say um I want to change frequency meaning these vertical lines, like how frequent do you want them to appear on your corridor. So if you click on that and you go to corridor properties over here, you can click on this, and then it'll bring up this pop-up menu. So it brings up information. You're gonna go to parameters. So this is where you're gonna change your frequency. So if you just scroll over to your right and under frequency where it says 20, you're gonna click on this three dots right here. And then this is the information. Frequency to apply assemblies. Now along tangents, you can change these. Let's if we lower it to like a 10. Curve increment, so the frequency of your assembly between in your curves. Let's have that at 10. We don't have any curves, but you're just gonna put it in just in case. Then 10, and then vertical baseline along vertical curves. Let's also have that as 10, and then yeah, we can leave everything as is. You can press on OK. Now, once you're happy, you click on apply, and then rebuild. And as you can see, so you can see the lines have sort of doubled. Let's give this some time. Now the time it takes for this to render does heavily depend on your machine. My machine clearly cannot handle this type of work. sponsor me, anyone, but um, essentially this is what your corridors entail. So yeah, uh, let's do another. Let's do another corridor. Let's say this one. Let's have a corridor for this section. Oh, another thing I actually did not mention is these corridors are their behavior is dynamic, especially when it comes to your cross sections. Because what happens is, let's say I then decide to remove, let's say, one side of the daylight from this assembly. So if I click on that and I press delete on my keyboard, right? So as you can see, one side, or actually, let's remove both. So if you check, I've removed both of the daylights on left and right side of the cross section. Now it won't change immediately, but what will happen is if you were to update this corridor, this wider portions here of the corridor essentially would essentially disappear. So if you click on your corridor and then on top your menu under modify corridor, if you go to rebuild, if you click on it, as you can see, it starts remodeling, and then as you can see, it has disappeared. So all you're left with now is your shoulder and your lane, which is much, much neater. Um, so yeah, again, every time you change your cross section, you need to rebuild your corridor so that you can update that and use the updated assembly. Now, I did say I'm gonna create an assembly for this as well, or not an assembly, my bad, a corridor. So we'll do the exact same procedure. Just make sure that we use the right assembly, and I'll just rename this called to render. Now, so alignment has been selected already, which is this one right here. And then we have its profile, the assembly, and then target surface. You select and then we'll press OK. And then, okay, I'll leave the frequency at 20 here. And then we'll click on apply, rebuild, and we press OK. You'll see that we have another beautiful looking corridor right here. Now, as you can see, where they intersect, things aren't looking too spectacular over here. Now, you are gonna need a dedicated intersection for this. Now, remember, I did mention that there are two ways to create intersections for your corridors. So for this video, I am gonna touch on the automatic version, which simply implies just going to your intersections options and selecting certain parameters. And then the manual version, which will be in the next episode, that will cover it covers a lot more, and it is quite a lengthy process and can be confusing, but I'll make sure that I explain it as thoroughly as possible. So for now, we are gonna touch on the automatic version of our intersections. So what you need to do is prepare the space for your intersection over here. Now, what I'm gonna do actually is for the other bits of the assemblies, I'm gonna remove the daylights. You don't have to. You don't. You shouldn't do this. I'm just doing this to make sure everything is more, I guess, presentable, so you can see ideally how your intersection should look like. So I'll delete this, and then which one's the curve returns? Okay, I'll select both, and then this one as well. Delete. Okay, let's quickly save. Okay, we're on track. Now, let's prepare the space for our intersection. Now, you need to have a bit of a gap here because with the automatic version, it's going to create its own dedicated corridor. So we need to leave out some space here. So if we select this corridor, you will see that there's an arrow here on either end of the corridors. There are arrows. This will actually allow you to then move or drag your corridor front and back however far you want to. So what happens is it, and I guess it only shows like certain portions that you want it to show. So I've dragged it back slightly, meaning this portion of the alignment will not have the rendered out corridor. Now we need to also create space right here in the center. Now you could have done the same thing and clicked this corridor and then dragged it back. But there is another way you can do this. So if you click on your corridor and then under modify region, you'll see an option that says split region. Now what this lets you do is actually split your corridor into two parts. So you click on your corridor and then there'll be a red line appearing, which allows you to select where you wanna split it, and then just like that, it is split. How you know that it's split is when you see these two arrows floating. So let's select one side and then we'll drag it back, maybe up to, let's say, here. Okay. And then let's take this one slightly back as well. And then, okay, perfect. Now we have our beautiful looking space for our intersection. Let's take this one back slightly. And I feel that it might actually intersect with or interfere with the other. Yeah, this should be good. Right, so all you should have here is your alignments, your intersecting alignments. Now you need to make sure before you proceed with the intersections option, just ensure that your alignments actually touch each other and intersect. Otherwise, the option will not let you proceed. Now, let's create our intersection, our automatic intersection. So under home, actually it's it here. Under home, you're gonna go to intersections. So under create design intersections, and then you're gonna go to the first option, create intersection. Now you need to select your intersection point. So again, just make sure the points between these two alignments are actually touching, allowing you to then select that point. And then once you've done that, it should give you um, this dialog box. Now, this is where you're gonna give your intersection a name. Since both my roads are called lols, I'll call this the lol int. And then, okay, so you can leave description out. And then marker style, you can leave as basic. You can leave this as is as well. Now, for intersection corridor type, there are two types here that you can be able to use. There's primary road crown maintained. So what this does is it leaves the primary road crowned, while the second one it comes from crown and then just slightly flattened. And then there's all crowns maintained, which maintains all the crowns of both your intersecting roads. Now it's best to use this, especially for the assemblies that we have currently. This is the one to use. So once you're done here, you just click on next. Now once you press on next, you'll see the geometric details. This is where you'll get your details for your alignments, and then this is where you can then change your offset parameters. This is where you can change your offset parameters and your curve return parameters. So for offset, if you click on it quickly, what this will do is it'll generate offset alignments for both the intersecting roads. So my advice here is for you to actually use the lane width of your road. You were given this in your criteria, so I suggest you use that. So for all of them, uh, 3.7. Okay, sorry. Now, obviously, the roads will be intersecting too. The lane might differ. So you just need to find out what the lane width for that is, and then use that instead. And then once you're happy here, and then you can just press on OK. Now, if you go to our curve return parameters, what this does is it allows you to assign a certain radius value. So the standard here is 10. I'll keep this as 10, but to change per corner, there's what we call quadrant or intersection quadrants up top. So this allows you to change between quadrants and then change the radius. Let's say if I want 15 as an example, then you can put that in. I'm actually gonna use 15 now, but you're more than welcome to leave it at 10. Then you can click on OK. Now, offset and curb return profiles, you can leave these as they are, so you can just proceed. Now, when you're done here, you click on next. Now, once you've clicked on next, this then is where you'll start applying your assembly. So all your half section assemblies, your curb returns, your full sections, they'll all apply here. So what happens is if you click on this first one, you'll see under curb return fillets, it shows you what it covers and then the type of assembly that's needed. So this is like a guide as to how your assembly should look like for each section. So you'll see primary road full section, primary road half, and then left, right, and then same thing. So you just go ahead and select the assemblies that apply to you or apply to a certain section. So for curb returns, I'll click on these three dots right here, and then you just look for um, the curb returns assembly. Actually, I'm gonna do this and see if I've selected the right one. The one I'm looking for is this one. So as you can see here, we have our lane here, and then this is our shoulder. So we're gonna select this one. Okay, this is the right one. You click on OK. Primary road full section, you can select your full section assembly, and then half section left. So say cross section left, and then cross section right, and then you'll do the same thing with the secondary road. So secondary road full section, half road left, half road right. Then once you're done selecting, you can click on create intersection. And okay, so I've gotten a warning here. It says one or more of your secondary road profiles cannot be logged to this intersection. To adjust the secondary road profiles and log in the entity should be fixed. Okay, let's continue to use. Let's use this. Okay, it seems like it hasn't modeled anything. Let's set it. So it gives me this. Okay, so what this does, it generates offline or offset alignment as well as the connected written alignment for both the corners. Now, if this has happened to you as well, that's okay because what you can then do is select this circle here with the cross, and then you're gonna go here to create corridor regions, recreate corridor regions. Now, once you've clicked on this, it actually lets you reselect all those corridors, all those assemblies that you had prior. So I'll use this one. I will use this one. Okay, let's select left for this one. Let's select right for this one. And then cross section for full section. And then left, no. Okay. CS left and CS right. Let's see if we're able to then recreate. There we go. Okay, but it looks a bit funny. So yeah, this is your assembly. So it creates this corridor as your assembly. Now you notice there are some weird gaps that are being left, such as here in between, which shouldn't happen. It should actually, especially when it comes to curve returns, these lines should go all the way to the center of both alignments. But there is a way to fix this. So what you can then do, uh, okay, I've just exited. It's fine. You can select your corridor, and then you'll go to your corridor properties. So now again, you have the information, you go to parameters, then you'll notice as you click on certain names of different parts of your alignment, so it shows you the different portions that apply to um, yeah, that apply to the different sections of your road. So if we focus on, let's see if we start with curb returns. Let's start with this one. Okay, so for this one, what we want to do is extend this to our center lines. This ties in more with your manual version, but I'm just going to show you a brief example of how you will approach that. So you'll drag to your right, and then, my goodness, you'll go to where it says target. Now, under here, you'll see another box that says target mapping. So what you'll do is, under width or offset target, under shoulder width target, you'll click on this varies option. Now, what happened is, says set an offset target, and then let's see if we are, so these alignments have been added already, so I don't know why it's not stretching through. If we say okay, then let's go to width target. So width target is where you can actually then drag these to your certain alignment. So you click on none, and then you select those very same alignments that you use. So you select an alignment, you click on add, and then you select the second alignment in that intersection, you click on add, and then here on top says use targets on the same side as the sub assembly. You don't need to tick this, you just say okay, and then you'll click on okay here as well. Now let's see what happens if we press on apply. Let's rebuild, and there you see, now we have a perfectly looking portion of your curb returns. So the same does apply with the second part here. So it says curb returns, wherever you need to edit, you just do that. So yeah, and then from that point, so let's do that quickly. If you drag to the right, we'll say target, and then none, and then the two alignments that apply in our intersection, lol2, and then target to nearest, you can just leave that as is, click on OK, apply, rebuild, and then there we go. There it is. And let's press on OK quickly. And as you can see, this is our good looking curb returns in our intersection. Now what's missing is this portion right here, which is missing a shoulder, and yeah, it's missing a shoulder only. And the cool thing is about this also is you can see if whether your intersection matches, especially with the full section ends, if they actually match uh, with your actual or your standard corridor that you have had before. So if you do that, you'll see that it matches. If you drag this back, it matches, and then pa. Let's see if we then do this one. Let's drag it back. Pa, it matches. There we go. I've made an interesting discovery here. So as I was busy trying to fix this portion here, as you know, with these regions, what you can do actually, you can also change assemblies for certain portions of your corridor. So for this, if you want to work on this one as an example, under assembly, if we click on it and then we select, so I have two curb return assemblies here, right? If I were to select the second one and then press on apply and then rebuild, you'll see that it actually rebuilds everything. So every single portion of that uh, assembly is there with it. Now, if I were to go back to the first one, uh, if we rebuild, you'll see just one section is there. I wonder why. But in any case, if let's say we do this, right? So let's do this. Let's rebuild for both of these. So you'll use curb returns 2, right? And apply, rebuild, and press OK. So you can see they're inverted. But what I want to do is actually edit the assembly itself. So the shoulders that were supposed to be here, we'll put them there, and then the lanes that side. So let's go to our curb returns 2, which is this one, I believe. Let's see. Yes. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I'm going to swap these two around. So let's click on this one. So if you click on this and then we say mirror, we mirror this, okay? And then what I want to do is delete this portion. And then if we select the shoulder, mirror that, select that portion, and then delete that. So we have the correct cap return in exchange for now. So it's no longer going to look like this. Let's hope it actually fixes the problem. So if I click on this and I say rebuild, there we go. It is fixed. There we go. Now the only issue is just now assigning targets to the two intersecting alignments. And yeah, just like that, that is intersections and corridors. So the next episode, I'm actually gonna show you how to then use that corridors properties option to make your assemblies manually. And yeah, so because in this video I've shown you how to create those using this. So yeah, thank you for watching. We are nearly there. We are nearly there. We are left with okay, let me not count episodes, but we are left with roundabouts, and then cut and fill, and then that will be all for this series. So we are near the end. Hang in there, carry on practicing, carry on pushing. I'll see you guys in the next episode. We'll be repeating intersections, just a lot more work this time. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you then. Take care.